So for any budding wedding photographers out there, here is a fairly good cautionary tale. It's something that's kind of exploded up on the internet just now. I'll put a link to the, CNBC news article, or a news video. I'm talking about how a wedding couple are complaining about how a photographer has scammed them by after the wedding, charging them $150 for a wedding album, wedding album cover, and saying that the photographer is not going to release the images until they've paid this extra for the cover, which the couple here say they had no idea that there was this extra cost for, and the news story here is saying the photographer is holding the photos hostage until they pay these extra bits of money. It's featured on a couple different sites. I'm definitely seeing it on F-Stoppers. They've just kind of mentioned it, and some of the interesting facts. It was a $6,000 wedding, which, whenever you first kind of go, what the heck, $6,000? That's a lot. If you in the actual video, it's a pretty in-depth. So it says 4,200 collection covered by 2 photographers, pre-ceremony, ceremony and reception, up to 7 hours. 7 hours, I didn't think it's quite long enough. Unlimited images, black and white and vintage, blah, blah, blah. Wedding day mini bridal portrait session, outdoor on-location engagement shoot, 1 8x10 and 2 5x7 portrait sessions. So these are like, this is not just, hey, I'm turning up for a wedding. This is like extra engagement session, portrait sessions, complimentary guest sign-in book. That's another thing. Custom wallets for guests to access online. Custom wallets for guests to access online ordering. Yeah, okay, fine. Editing high-resolution wedding day images on disc. Well, yeah, you kind of should do. Print release form for wedding. To print wedding photographs and personalise online viewing and ordering website, wedding proof CD for viewing, and 40 pages wedding storybook, up to 80 images. And that's only the 4,200, so they must have added on a couple extras if they're saying it totally comes up to the 6,000 mark. And then the news kind of story is kind of going on about how there's this extra charge and they're not releasing it. So the news story is very much from the bride and groom's kind of disgruntledness of not getting what they thought they were ordering. The actual wedding photographer herself, Polito, on her site, she's done an open letter on this. And it goes on and on quite a bit until it gets into it. So it's like, we do it for 10 years, 600 weddings, 10 years, I serve 600 weddings, 95% during keeps on going during the past 10 years, felt honoured, privileged, booked far in advance, commitment. So then we get a little bit of a story here. So, I've missed my own brother's wedding, I've had a miscarriage, I've given up Thanksgiving and family vacations for shooting weddings. Well, if you're getting paid $6,000 a wedding, I'd be quite happily skipping New Year and all that with my family. And then doing another wedding when 8.5 months pregnant, I would have kind of organised another photographer for that one. That's not only dangerous for you, but also incredibly awkward for the bride and groom, having a 8.5 month pregnant photographer shooting your wedding. I'd be a bit nervous. When you're nervous enough on your wedding day, I would have done some organising to get another photographer to take my place on that one. Anyway, and then it goes on. This brings me to recent events. Blah blah blah. 10 years, 5-star rating. It just goes on and on, right? And what I'd say is, have a little read of this. It is a very long open letter. But in the end, what this all comes down to is huge amounts of negative, national, international negative publicity for a wedding photographer all over what turns out to be something which was just not quite mentioned in the contract. Or just was $150 just for a little bit of a cover of an album. What I will definitely let everyone know is, like, wedding albums can be insanely expensive if you're getting them. So if you're going, a good company for expensive wedding albums is Graphis Studio. I think they're Australian, I think, but beautifully made, and just like the way they are presenting all that kind of stuff, and the stuff that it's made out of is at a very, very, very high level. So I can understand maybe a type of album, the cover may have a certain additional cost to it. However, doing that as a after wedding additional charge, that's where it gets a little bit tricky. My advice on this would be, what you really want is that you really want your bride and groom to be paying everything up front before the wedding. So it's not like, oh, we've spent all our money on our wedding, and now we still need to pay stuff off our wedding afterwards. It's better if, I would always recommend, is get them up front, and if there is anything, make sure it's just like additional charges which they wouldn't necessarily assume would be part of the original package. So if you're paying $6,000 for a wedding package, you would kind of assume that that's it done. There's $6,000, shoot my wedding, shoot my engagement, and give me my wedding album, all absolutely good. If the wedding couple said, hey, can we get a different album cover, then yeah, fair enough, there could be an extra charge there. But to say that, oh, you're not getting the wedding album until you now pay for a wedding album cover, and you're not getting the photos either, it's like, well, that's kind of something where I could understand from the point of view of the couple kind of going, hey, we've paid you loads already, why are we not getting our images here? So I would always advise, have everything up front, but if they say, hey, can we have another album? Cool, no problem, you can do that, that's an extra charge. They say, can we have a different type of cover? Can we have a different, like here you can have it a matte, or you can have it wood, or you can have it, all these kind of types of things. So, but you should have that all kind of explained in the contract beforehand. And on the actual open letter that the photographer said, look, we've kind of gone over this. The news story hasn't actually told the proper story. Of course, the news story wouldn't kind of go into all that much depth. But she's saying she's had to shut down her Facebook page, and it's just been a bit of a nightmare for her, all because of $125 has gone too far because of ulterior motives. So now she's like saying maybe the bride and groom have got ulterior motives. It's now becoming just a spat going on here. Just all my advice is that if any of you are thinking of going into the wedding photography market, you've, like, quite a few people will say, get your contract looked over by a lawyer. I wouldn't just say by a lawyer, I would say by another wedding photographer that is not in your own area. So somebody that's not going to, oh, you're going to be stealing my jobs, but somebody that can just go, we want to make sure that we're not having disgruntled brides and grooms. Because this isn't just bad publicity for this photographer, this is bad publicity for all wedding photographers, because everyone will be going, oh, I saw this story about they were charging $120 for a wedding album. Oh my god, I can't believe this professional was doing this. I'll just get my Uncle Bob to do it instead. So that's where, for me, I would say, if you're getting into the wedding photography industry, you want to be fully covered by everything that you do, but also making sure that your clients, granted you can have some difficult clients and sometimes, but your clients are coming away without complaints that they could potentially be going to national news stories with. And again, this is a bit normal. It is just and they even say, oh, we could easily pay this, but it's just against the principle, because we had no idea that we're going to be charging this. So it's a cautionary tale for everyone to look at this. And for wedding photographers, I would advise you to have a little double check over your contracts, and make sure that whenever your clients are signing the dot and paying the money, that if there are any additional charges, they're fully aware of that before going into the actual wedding shoot. Just my advice. Okay, I'll put the links to all these down below. Bye bye.